Hello, I'm Cameron Crowe, and I'm one of the leaders of the Coal Valley Speaks movement, which is trying to organize and communicate with Coal Valley Christian School to change some of their policies to make more kids more safe. Um, and this morning, I received a message from a student who was working on a assignment for their Bible class, and it sounds like they're interviewing people, and she asked if I could answer her questions to help with her assignment. And I said, of course, that'd be great. And we were going to, but I asked that it be public because one thing I don't like about private conversations, if people haven't figured this out already, is that when it's a private conversation, people can remember it or talk about it however they want to, and there's no source material to go back and check if that's actually true. A lot of my positions and things that I've said have been totally misrepresented, and that's why I do so many things in the public. So I can actually say, no, look, that's what I said, not that. The thing you think the reason you don't like me is not even what I said. So I said, yeah, but I want to do it in public. And she was like, great, let's do it. Let's do a video interview. And I said, great. But this is something that I think she needs to get done soon. And she said she wasn't able to get teacher approval in time. So I said, I'll make a video and answer your questions this way, and I'll post it on the website, and you can use that. Win-win. She was like, great. So the questions are, so there's 5 questions. I'm going to read them all down, and then I'll kind of answer them one at a time. So the questions are, what is your opinion about the church? If you had any encounters with Christians, what was it like? Do you believe Jesus was a real person? What do you think happens after we die? And then in parentheses, if heaven, how do we get there? Last one is, what's your opinion about Christian schools? In parentheses, not specifically Coal Valley, all Christian schools. Okay, so quick backstory I forgot to mention. I pulled up some tabs for people to know why the student might want to talk to me. So I'm one of the organizers of coalvalleyspeaks.com. This is a group made up of students, parents, and staff, and we want to organize to make Coal Valley a better place by making some common sense changes to the policies. And we've written out a big joint statement about what some of these problem areas are, what the themes are, and what our proposed recommendations are. And the more people that read this, the better. Most people that oppose us haven't read this, which is a problem. And then we did a demonstration for National Day of Prayer last week, where we went out on the school on National Day of Prayer as a symbol or a gesture of support, and that we want to talk. By the way, after we wrote that joint statement, we've been trying for 2 months to get Coal Valley administration to talk to us, and they have not. So we're trying to talk to them, and this is one way out of frustration with current efforts not being fruitful to kind of increase the visibility. And then we were invited back by a student that said, oh, I wish you had come during lunch, not before school, so I had time to talk to you. So we came back, and we had a ton of students talk to us, and it was fantastic. Unfortunately, yesterday morning, the superintendent wrote an email to the whole school community saying that we were a small group of protesters from past students from way back when. They didn't say what we were about. They kind of basically used a fear tactic that, like, we're using an abundance of caution. We will prevent escalation and keep your kids safe. If they actually paid attention to what we were doing, they'd know that that's what we are trying to do too. And we're trying to talk, and you won't listen. So that's why we're doing this stuff. So anyway, that's the context. Sorry if I hope people could have skipped that if they want. Anyway, back to the questions. So what is your opinion about the church? So I would ask some clarifying questions about what is meant by this, because there's I think this probably means Christianity as a whole. I'm going to interpret it that way. Or if there wasn't a the, I would have said, okay, well, this probably means, like churches, specific churches, going to church, the act of worshiping, all that stuff. So my opinion about the church and Christianity. So for context, I went to Coal Valley Christian for 13 years. And about 4 years after I left Coal Valley, I stopped believing in God. I still don't believe in God, not because I'm rejecting God or walking away from my faith, but just because I think it makes the most sense to me that there is not a God based on my experience, reading, conversations, everything. So what is my opinion about the church? What is my opinion about Christianity? Besides the fact that I don't believe in it, my opinion is somewhat neutral. I think there's been a lot of bad that's come from Christianity. Historical abuses, a lot of judgment, a lot of lacking of accepting of different people groups in past and current society. But I think there's been a lot of good that's come from Christianity. The values and teachings of Jesus Christ are unassailable. They're absolutely great ways to live, and I wish everybody lived by them. So this is the challenge. I think this was the challenge of religion in Jesus's day. He loved the people and kind of being good to the people and trying to serve them. And he spent all this time with the most hated people in society, were prostitutes, tax collectors, thieves, and in today's environment, he probably spent all of his time with gay people. And not that gay people are bad, they're not. But like all these people that Christianity or parts of Christianity have said, they're bad, Jesus would be hanging out with them and loving them. And the people that Jesus actually got most mad about were the religious leaders, the Pharisees. And the only real violence that Jesus did that I remember in the Bible was going into the church and flipping over their tables and chewing them out, yelling at them for basically being hypocrites and not living, what the religion's about. So I think this is what I think about the church, that the values, I have issues with some of the values, but Jesus's values are great. I can't think of a single criticism against Jesus's values and what he stood for. But religious institutions and the religion in general, there's a lot of things wrong with the way it works. And that's what Jesus' frustration was, and that's what my frustration is, and probably what most Christians' frustrations are. So try not to go too much further on that one, in the interest of time and attention spans. If you've had any encounters with Christians, what was it? Well, I've had a lot of encounters with Christians after 13 years at Coal Valley and Coal Community Church. So what do I think the intent of this question is? Have you had any encounters with Christians? I'm guessing this is about what do you experience Christians to be like? And I think I've already kind of touched on that. There's a lot of loving, servant-minded, open-minded Christians out there. And people don't realize, especially people in Coal Valley, that Christianity is a wide, broad spectrum. Coal Valley Christian School claims it's a non-denominational school, but they teach on this spectrum of Christianity. They teach where's the right side? Right side here for the screen. They teach this spot of it. There's all these versions of Christianity that believe Jesus is God, and their salvation is secure according to this religious the tenets of this religion. Think all kinds of different things that Coal Valley has taken a very strict, rigid, narrow stance on. For instance, homosexuality. Coal Valley would teach you that it's absolutely, undeniably, unambiguously wrong, period. What they don't tell you is that a huge proportion of Christian thinkers don't think it's a sin. Bible scholars, when people are like, well, it's obvious. Look, I just read it. It says, shall not lay with another man. It's not that obvious, actually, if you read that in context. And if you're somebody that's studied this for most of your life, when they say that they don't think that's the interpretation of it, maybe you should pay attention to that. Whether you want to say that it's a sin or not, you should at least be aware that there's a lot of very smart people that understand the Bible better than you do that don't think that. So maybe that'll make you a little bit more open-minded of, maybe I have this view, but maybe I'm not totally correct on this. In which case, does this school need to take such a rigid stance? Maybe it should teach that there's a wide range of views on this. This is what these people say. This is what these people say. The school doesn't have to take a stance on it. Anyway, that's kind of a rant. Do you believe Jesus was a real person? It's been a while since I've thought about this question, to be honest. I don't know for sure. I haven't studied, have not studied this in quite some time, but I think probably yes, Jesus was a real person. I think I remember that there was some sort of census records that mentioned Jesus of Nazareth, and some other kind of mentions of him outside, like in the Roman records, outside of kind of what the Jews and the Christ followers, said about him. But I don't believe Jesus was God. I don't believe that he raised from the dead. I don't believe that he did supernatural miracles. Similarly to Thomas Jefferson, he loved everything about, he loved the Bible, but he didn't believe that these supernatural stories were true. So he took those out. He made what's called the Jefferson Bible, which has been historically a book that's given to every United States senator and representative that gets elected and comes to Washington, D.C. as a tradition of kind of humanistic Christianity. So I believe Jesus was a real person. I don't think supernatural things happened. I think the Bible is full of myth. I think that a lot of these books were written a long time after Jesus had died, and this got inflated. And then, maybe some of these things were written as parables. I don't know. Again, all of you people have been studying it much more often than I do, but the student asked for my opinions on these things, so that's what I'm doing. What do you think happens after we die? If heaven, how do we get there? Well, I already told you I'm an atheist. By that, I don't mean there's no possible way there's a God. I mean that I don't know for sure, but think it's very likely that there's not a God. So I think that perhaps that makes me a strong agnostic, verging on atheist. I'm not sure exactly what the right label is, but I think atheist makes more sense to me. I think there's nothing. I think that we are all just cells and molecules, and when we die, we decompose and we become part of the earth again. The moisture of our bodies goes into the air. We decompose into dirt, into the ground, and that's all you get. There's no heaven, there's no afterlife, there's no reincarnation. I don't have any proof for any of this. Everybody has to believe something when there's no facts. So that's what I believe. To me, that means I need to do the best with what I've got in this life. This is my only life. So I want to not, act in a certain way because of what it might get me in the future. I don't think there is anything. So I want to make the most of the things that are now. What's your opinion about Christian schools? Not specifically Cole Valley, all Christian schools. So great question. Some students had asked me actually when we were at the school talking to students, why are you so focused on Cole Valley? Why not Nampa Christian, Ambrose, etc.? And I said, well, I know Cole Valley. That's the one I know, and I care the most about them because that's where my friends teach and siblings go to school and all these people. So I'm doing this because I care. If I didn't give a shit, then I wouldn't be doing any of this. Why would I? What do I have to gain from spending hundreds of hours of volunteer time and not, letting down on this? What do I have to benefit from? Anyway, I think that Christian school, I would prefer that I had not gone to a Christian school, any Christian school, because I think they have an agenda. They do. They, and some people may say secular schools have an agenda too. Everybody has an agenda. Nobody's truly objective, but I think religious schools are less objective. They think they are built on the foundation that this is what's the truth, and we are going to teach it to you. They're not built on, these are the facts. This is what some people think. This is what some other people think, and you need to come to your own conclusions. That's what I like about secular institutions. Christian schools, when they're doing the best possible job, I think that they do something similar to that. They say, we are a Christian organization, but we believe in free thinking. God created us with brains and the ability to use them. And if we don't use them, we're doing God a disservice. So we will give you all the facts. We will tell you what all the people think about them. We will not try to lead you towards one side or the other. And you will need to choose for yourself. And my personal views on this matter, I don't need to inject those into this lesson. I want to try to maintain some degree of objectivity, knowing that I won't, as a Christian, I won't do as good of a job representing a non-Christian view. And then I guess the same is true for a secular institution. As a non-Christian, I might not do as good of a job representing a Christian view. The best possible education would be you've got a non-Christian and a Christian and a Muslim and a Buddhist and an atheist, and they're all teaching what they believe. And students can hear it from people that really believe it. And they can, because then that's like more representative. They can really hear people that actually mean what they say. So I think that Christian education can be strong. I think it has a hard time being as good as a secular education, but it can still be good. I've heard great things about like Jesuit universities as like being very focused on freedom of thinking, intellectual honesty, open-mindedness, questioning, skepticism. That's fantastic. The more of that, the better the school. It just so happens that I think Christian schools are more likely not to be like that. And I think Cole Valley is absolutely one of the worst I've heard of on that. Like, they're like, here's the topic, here's the answer. Don't worry about all the spectrum things. That's not really important. If we are going to talk about the spectrum, we're going to talk about how you win a debate against that person and how you win a debate against that person. But we're right. That's not in question. If you're questioning that, that's bad. You need to pray about it. You need to get on the right path with God again. Anyway, I feel like that's a long enough ramble. Hopefully that helps with your assignment. Let me know if you want any more, and if you can do an interview, that'd be even better. So hope that helps.